We're back. Welcome back to the Golden Boot Podcast. It's your boy Pooh Bear. I got Daniel D. Williams, and we got a fresh, off the
Chill out, bro.
market
Chill
Anthony
out, man.
Petty Murphy.
He's
Welcome back,
married,
guys.
What's happening? What's happening?
His eyes married now.
man.
Hey, it's been a long 2 weeks, man. I was about to come on here by myself, man. How y'all doing today, though?
I'm
Good,
good,
man.
bro.
Hey, it's been a long, but we got some stuff. We got some stuff to get into. It's a lot of stuff has happened. Ryan already coming in hot. Well, let's put in that comment by Danny girl. She came in with yeah, there it go.
Ooh.
They back. Secret weddings and last minute road trips to New York for hair implants are over, and everyone is home. Let's go.
Not
So,
the hair implants.
I think they missed us, fellas.
Yeah, I think they do too. Who got hair implants? But okay.
I mean, I don't know who got hair implants. I mean, I think they got a hat replacement therapy or something. But hey, let's go ahead and get started. So let's start off with the NFL. So OTAs are in full effect. Don't let them bully you, Daniel. Don't let them bully you. But OTAs are in full effect. And the Saints opened up OTAs, and everybody started. There was a big because there were some players that did not show up. Voluntary OTAs. Thoughts? I mean, does it matter much? I mean, it's voluntary, and it wasn't like these were rookies. These were veterans, and they had pretty good excuses.
Well, do we have a list of who all didn't show up? Because I'll just make a general statement until.
Okay.
Let's just
I'll
say
look up the list.
Michael Thomas didn't practice.
Right. Well, he's still say working or coming off that injury or whatever like that.
Correct.
You know what I mean? But you got Jameis out there going hard, But I look at it as let's relate this back to LSU, right? You got the guys. They don't have to come to off-season workouts in the summertime. They don't have to. They can train by themselves and just come in for fall practice. But of course, we know that a lot of times when your teams spend a lot of time together during the offseason and they work hard, they sweat together, most of the time that's whenever you have your really good teams because they have a chemistry that's built up and they know each other, So I think you can I think it should be a question mark there. The fact that you got a new quarterback, you got a new head coach, you got rookies that you're going to lean on,
The quarterback ain't new though.
Well, he's not new. He's not new, but I look at it as his leadership role. Last year, I felt like he was handcuffed. This year, this is his team, bro.
This is his team. I think it was his team last year. I get what you're saying, but I think all right. I look at it like
Sean Payton wanted Taysom Hill to be that quarterback, but
I think he figured that out real quick in the preseason. That wasn't going to happen.
That's another conversation for another day. But
let me write that
honestly,
down for next week.
I don't think it's as much of a big deal as some people try to make it out to be. I think Michael Thomas being in the building this time around for OTAs, unlike last year, I think that says a lot more about his buy-in this year compared to maybe his buy-in in the last couple seasons. I think we're really starting to see the difference between Sean Payton and Dennis Allen, though, because guys like Michael Thomas are starting to be around, even if they're not participating. They're still in the facility, like we seen with Kayshon Boutte with LSU. Being around those younger guys, kind of teaching them, guiding them, showing them the ropes, and whatever the case may be. And we already know him and Olave have that relationship together from Ohio State connection and stuff like that. So just Mike being in the building around Olave and some of them other younger guys, I think that's more important than whether or not he's out there practicing right now, especially considering we don't know how that injury situation is.
All right, and I do have the list of players that were absent. You got Alvin Kamara, which we understand his situation. Right. Marshawn Lattimore, Andrews Pete, James Hurst, Bradley Roby, Michael Thomas, Mark Ingram, Demario Davis, Jarvis Landry, Marcus Davenport, Peyton Turner, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Deontay Hardy, Taysom Hill, and P.J. Williams.
Yeah, no name on there is really one, and I'm like, man, it's James Hurst maybe. James Hurst may be the only because this is probably his first year being a true starter and not just a
Mhm.
spot starter rotational guy. He's probably the only one I think that's on that list who's gonna be asked to do more than they have in the past. So I think he's
Mhm.
the only one who where you could kind of be like, man, he might need to be out there getting a few additional reps. But I honestly I'm okay with everybody that you just said not being there, whether it be for
Only,
injuries or age or whatever the case may be.
only person that I would, if Jameis wasn't coming off an injury, I would be probably Jarvis Landry if he wasn't coming off an injury. And just so they can get that timing down and that connection. Of course, they're going to have a long time to do that, but I just think the more time they spend together, the better. So I don't think it's
Yeah,
that big of a deal, but still,
yeah,
it
you
would
talk about two pros. You talking about two consummate pros right there, though. You know what I mean? Like the guys
Yeah.
who
And we know
who will
we
never
know
when
how
the
it is too.
yeah when Jarvis is gonna work whenever the time for him to put he's gonna do that and some. So I'm okay with that.
My thing is I'm not really worried about even with the wide receivers and quarterback aspect because I'm not sure what they've done in the offseason already. If they've gotten together because we've seen videos of Michael Thomas working with say James wasn't there then. I mean, I don't know. But the thing is it is voluntary OTAs.
That's
So
true.
which we it's not even now mini camp completely different or training
Yeah,
camp period
Right.
completely different.
Right.
Um Next thing, the Saints' new defense upgrade. You
Mhm.
got um Tyrann Matthew, who we saw come in and immediately took over the leadership role. He's uh, putting guys in the right
dang, Pooh.
Dang, Pooh.
I think what he was saying was the Matthew upgrade over
Pooh.
Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah.
Um, I would agree. I mean, I think that's pretty easily the case. I think he's younger, fresher, quicker. He can still get to some of those. He can still have some of that range that we saw Malcolm lose, and I think he can bring everything as far as the intangibles that Malcolm brings, leadership and voice in the locker room and all those kind of things. I think in the secondary, the question mark is as bad as some people like to bash number 43, Marcus Williams. Can Marcus May be as good as Marcus Williams was for the Saints at times? I think that's the bigger question mark in the secondary.
And honestly, I just think he just has to be. Let's just say he could just be good. He doesn't have to be elite. I mean, whenever you're playing against, I mean, you have a guy on the other side of you, Tyrann Matthew, that's helping you, putting you in the right position, and also Tyrann's a game changer, a playmaker. Just be in your right spot. That's it. Just get in the way. That's all you got to do, and just let the playmakers make plays.
Well, that too, and I think he's gonna have probably better cornerback play on the outside than he's
Yeah.
had, in his career. Also, when you got Lattimore, who's pretty much locked down. We saw Debo, who played pretty well as a rookie last year. If he can continue to play like that or even improve, Chauncey in the slot, I mean, he's gonna be able to take a few more chances than he would have been able to, in New York because of the talent he's got around him.
Man, this team though, I know we're talking about the defense, and I know we're going to be kind of going into the offense part in a little bit, but I just think this team got so much swag, man, and they're going to have so much attitude, and they're going to have so much confidence. I mean, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But we know what James is coming with. James is a winner, and having Jarvis Landry on that side too, I just think you're in for a real treat. If all those guys
If
can stay healthy and get on the same page, and then it's
if
Allen.
Mike Thomas can come back being Mike Thomas, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? I think
I mean, the last time we saw Mike Thomas play, he was hopping on one leg
yeah.
and was
all
still
right.
doing his thing.
All
So
right. Am I good?
I mean,
Am I good for y'all? Y'all got me good?
oh, you
Yeah,
good, bro?
yeah, we can hear
All
you now,
right, all
bro.
right. Rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. Just want to throw that out there. All right. So I think y'all talked about the defense. That's what I started off with. And
Mhm.
see y'all start moving into the offense. So with that, moving into the offense. Well, specifically the wide receiver room. You've got Jarvis Landry,
Yeah,
Olave, um, Deontay Hardy, Mike Thomas, Marquez Callaway. Is this
Traquan.
Traquan?
Cool,
Traquan?
cool.
Is this potentially the best wide receiver room in Saints franchise history?
Hands down. Hands down. My opinion.
At least on paper.
On paper.
So let me ask because you got to think you had
That's
Henderson,
tough, bro. That's
Devery
tough.
Henderson, Joe
Who was
Horn.
who was a one-trick pony for the most part. Go ahead.
So
Toward
yeah,
the end.
Devery,
Go ahead.
Devery, Colston, Joe Horn. Was Ted Ginn on there then? He wasn't there yet. Okay.
You had at one point in time, you had Michael Thomas, Brandon Cooks, and Willie Snead all with 1,000 yards.
Yeah, but
or close to it. You know what I mean? So
with this, and the reason what made me
that's
think
more toward the offense though.
Let me state this. So here. So we know the potential.
I think talent wise, this might be it. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Talent wise, this might be it though.
So you got Olave who comes in. We've seen what he did at Ohio State. I'm not saying it automatically transfers, but I'm going to give him benefit of a doubt because of he's looked that good. Then you had Michael Thomas who broke the most catches in the first 3 years.
Well, he got the record for most in the season too, don't he?
Yeah, most in the who had it before that?
Jarvis Landry.
That's right, Jarvis Landry, who is now on this team.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think if you look at it from like a draft capital standpoint too, I think this easily has to be it. When you look at, you got a top 12 pick in Olave, and then you got 2 other second round picks in Michael and Jarvis.
They were third, weren't they third round?
No, that's both second round.
Both
picks.
Second, okay.
And then Traquan was a third round pick. You know what I mean? So if you look at it, you got four players drafted in the top 3 rounds in the same room. That's some talent there for
elite,
sure,
bro. That's elite.
Yes.
And then when you throw power in the mix too, I think. All right. I know this is off subject, but I think this shows like Dennis Allen's mindset compared to Sean Payton's mindset. You know what I mean? Like Dennis Allen is like, all right, I'm tired of having undrafted, free agent guys out there trying to win against number 1 corners. You know what I mean? And having to rely strictly on the defense. I see what it's like to have to guard, playmakers that, game week in, week out, multiple, out wide. I want that on my team. You know what I mean? So I want to give other defenses the same headache I got every week. You know what I mean? Not only that, it seems like that's the recipe for success right now, as far as offense. The more weapons you have, the better.
I think Sean Payton thought that he could manufacture weapons through his scheme. Whereas Dennis Allen's like, manufacturing weapons and all, like scheming up is cool, but I want to have the dudes also. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think it did work for him early on in his career. I think it did.
Yeah, but I think it comes like with everything, man. You got to adapt after a while, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's part of the reason why the last few years we'll get into all that later, but you can ask what the question was with the offense. You know what I mean? But I think part of it was we just didn't have enough guys who can win one-on-one matchups out wide.
Right. Think about that. What was Jameis doing last year with, arguably no number 1 wide receiver? Let's be honest. He had several third option wide receivers out there.
Undrafted free agents. All of them were third. He had all of them are third at best. Honestly, if you want to keep it real.
Making plays and
let me ask y'all this. So last year, everybody bragged on, and the year before, everybody bragged on the Bucs trio of receivers. With Evans, Godwin, and AB. Where do you put the Saints trio as far as like with the rest of the leagues? Trios and groups of receivers.
So and this might be a little biased. Cincinnati right now, to me, hands down, number 1.
Yes, that's Cincinnati up there.
Then you've got Arizona Cardinals with D-Hop.
The D-Hop,
Marquise
Brown.
And I don't know if I know we said wide receivers, but Ertz
and they still got Rondale Moore too.
And they do have Rondale Moore.
What about the Rams? The Rams they got
Cooper Kupp.
They signed somebody though.
They got Cooper Kupp. They still got Odell for right now, right?
No, Odell a free agent.
Oh, he's a free agent.
They signed somebody.
They let Robert Woods go too, so I wouldn't say
they traded Robert Woods, but they signed somebody. That's why they traded Robert Woods.
I can't remember who it was.
I
Me
wouldn't put them
neither.
out there.
I think they're probably top 10, but they're not, or
I don't know
maybe
who
even
the
top
Rams
five.
signed. Let me see.
I
I
mean,
don't
then you
know.
got the Eagles. The Eagles got a pretty
Eagles, yeah,
yeah,
Allen
The Eagles,
Robinson. They signed Allen
Allen
Robinson.
Robinson.
oh, okay,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
the Eagles with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
yeah.
That's nice too.
They do, they do. It be
The
they
Giant the
who's
Giants
going to
got
give them the
bu-
ball?
the Giants got a
Sure.
bunch
Jalen
of
Hurts is
weapons, but they
huge.
ain't got no true like stars. You know what I mean? They got Tony Slayton,
Shepard.
Shepard. You know what I mean? They got a bunch of decent guys, but they ain't got no true number one.
If the Giants can get coaching down, I think they could be really dangerous. Daniel Jones
That's
is
it.
actually very underrated.
I think I've saying the same thing about Jalen Hurts, honestly, but
Wait, what'd you say about Jalen Hurts?
that if they could get the right coaching stuff around him, he could be a decent quarterback.
Oh yeah, he could be
Especially,
decent.
especially, especially with the weapons he got, I
He
think he'll
be
be fine.
decent,
That's all
decent.
you got to be with them weapons.
Yeah, just decent.
I mean, look at Ryan Tannehill. You know what I mean? Like he was AFC Championship games and play away from AFC Championship games, and he wasn't more than decent.
I'm trying to think who Tampa Bay has. Oh,
They
What?
they
got
did
eh,
add a
they,
Gage.
they
They
got
did.
they still got the same people. They just swapped Gage for AB.
Okay, okay,
Hey,
gotcha.
what about
Nobody
the
else.
the Raiders? They only got two though.
Oh yeah, it's
If you include
include
Waller,
Waller.
if you
Yeah.
include Waller, then they
Yeah,
got
Devontae
Adams,
too.
Renfro, and
Devontae
Waller.
Adams, yeah, yeah.
Adams, Renfro, and Parker. I mean Waller. That ain't bad.
Okay. All right. So sticking with the Saints,
Yeah.
well, I guess technically sticking with the Saints, it's Saints related. Although he's a former Saint with Drew Brees, LeVar Arrington came out with a scathing remarks about Drew Brees. Basically says he's just not as popular as he thinks he is.
Mm.
He's not as loved as he thinks he is, and he acts out when it doesn't go the way he would like for it to go. He's reaching out, crying for attention.
Mm.
Brady Quinn then chimed in and said he's not really wanted by NBC. He's not really wanted by the Saints. Maybe he will end up with Fox, but that's a tough pill to swallow if you're a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So I'll say this first. This is not going to be received well because of the messenger and not necessarily the message.
Mm-hmm.
Because LeVar Arrington, I heard and I was like, I don't know. But now I started thinking about some of the stuff and stuff. But then when Brady Quinn started talking, I was just like, I immediately
Yeah, my
started
ears
tuning
turned
out.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I immediately started so no. But is Drew Brees losing that love that New Orleans once had for him? Is he not the beloved son that he once was?
I can say this. Drew Brees is still loved by New Orleans Saints fans. We still respect him. We still love him.
Mhm.
We don't want him to play for our team anymore. Okay, you retired. Go ahead about your bit. In my opinion, go ahead about your business. You know what I'm saying. But what I do think is happening to Drew Brees also is when you've been a football player your entire life, when you've been a star your entire life, and now you're having to readjust and actually, live at home with your family, day to day, wake up. He's probably trying to find himself. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I didn't play pro ball. You know what I'm saying? But I played a little college ball, and after my college career ended, it was me kind of searching. Well, who am I? You know what I'm saying? I don't play football no more. You know what I'm saying? It's something you did your entire life. So now I think for Drew Brees, he's probably having a hard time trying to adjust to now living his regular life. Because now it's real life. Football is done. You know, that's my opinion.
I think that's a good point, but I think there is a little bit of I ain't gonna say truth, but there's a little fire where that smoke is coming from
Mm.
LeVar now. I think like Daniel said, I think all Saints fans appreciate Drew Brees for what he
Mhm.
did for the franchise in the city, and the philanthropic stuff he still continues to do for the state and everything. But um, I'm gonna just keep it real. The comments he made that rubbed a lot of people the wrong
Hey,
way.
hey, Dylan, shout out
Yeah,
to Dylan, man. Thank
yeah,
you for always
that's
being
that's
there. But
real. That's
Yeah.
real. I think that's I think that's facts. I think a lot of people ain't forgot that, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And so I think a lot of people, not just Saints fans, but across the nation, kind of like kind of wash their
What
hands
was
for
those
Breeze
comment?
in a
Those
sense.
comment.
About that he would never not stand from the flag, and all that because of his grandfather. And I mean, respect his stance and position and all that, but
Yeah.
he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way and basically the lack of empathy or sympathy he had for the other side in that cause.
Please keep
You
that.
know, and his teammate Malcolm Jenkins was one who was
Yeah.
kind of strong against that. But
Right.
I think if you look at like the NFL fan base, a lot of people don't want to tune in to hear Drew Brees because they still, are reminded of those comments whenever they think of Drew Brees. And so, from a network perspective, you know what I mean. Do you basically alienate a portion of your fan base? You know what I mean from that, because of. I mean, let's be real. Like Saints fans don't, and I'm sure I'm gonna get bashed from this, but Saints fans aren't gonna agree with me. But if you polled across the country, he's not as liked as we think he is because of some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I,
I mean,
I can agree.
I think it could. I don't. Okay. I think that you do have a point with it, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm just being completely honest with you. I don't think that his comments were bad whenever it happened. But I think kind of like with the news cycles, after 2 or 3 days, people forget about it. You know what I'm saying? For the most part,
Nah,
people for the most part
Mm-mm.
forget about it. I think he just wasn't good at his job. Whenever it came to broadcasting, he just wasn't good. So I think Brady Quinn, even though I really don't care for what he's saying, I think he's right. You know,
hey,
we he came out
damn.
a couple of weeks ago and kind of blasted what was it, NBC or ABC or whatnot, and was like, pretty much I'm gonna quit whenever I want to quit, or I'll see you guys next season, or whatever his comments were. So I think that's probably what they're like. Who are you? You're not even good at
Well,
this, and you sitting up here making demands. You know what I'm saying? So I think that had something to do with it. Now, don't get me wrong, and I do agree his comments were outlandish, but for the most part, I think a majority of the NFL fans forgot about him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But can you go back to Danny's point?
yeah. Yeah, so she
Danny,
says my take is this: if he truly cared about Nola and the team, he would have come back last season. We were in a huge QB bind, so we good now. Hard pass.
Danny girl, I'm gonna say a hard pass 4 years ago. He should have
I'm
retired
not gonna go that
4
far.
years
I'm
ago.
not,
I'm
In
yeah,
my
not
opinion,
gonna.
he should have
I,
retired. He should have retired after the no call, in my opinion.
hundred
And
percent.
but last year, no, not
He
at
don't
all.
need it.
I disagree, Danny, 100%. I feel like that whole we gave Drew Brees a call to see if I felt like that was all for clicks and for
yeah.
the media and all that. There was no way he was coming back to play. And I don't think the Saints even really wanted him to come back to play, honestly.
Right.
All right. And
And I
bring
agree.
up
If he came
Chan.
back as a coach, I think it'd be.
I think Chance is spot on though. I think that's what even made it worse is
Yeah.
the fact that he crawfished on it, and that the people who defended him, you know what I mean. The people who defended him, that kind of disrespect was like a slap in the face to them. The people who defended him and he had his back, and then the people who he originally disrespected or
Mm,
insulted or was insensitive to, they felt it as being fake because you didn't feel
Hey,
like that at
stand on
first.
it.
You know what I mean? So
Hey,
yeah, so basically it was a lose-lose situation for him.
hey, stand on it. Like, hey, double down on it. That's how you feel. Cool. That's how you feel. Honestly, everybody's not gonna agree with everything, and that's cool. You can't please everybody. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
But
So
don't flip flop and basically be fake. You know what I mean? Like
I'm saying,
that's just
stand
my
on it.
opinion.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
feel you. Yeah, you a
So
man.
so
Stand behind your words.
with that being said, Daniel, to your point, you said I don't think people still think about it. It is I guarantee you, it's still in the back of people's minds.
I think
Just
it's
simply,
probably back there, but it's all the way back there. In
nah.
my,
No, that's the thing.
that's just for me. That's I don't care.
Well, that's
I
because
understand.
you're a Saints fan. So when you think of Drew Brees, you think of like what he did for the Saints and all them game, stuff
I
like
think
that.
about how he
Some
wasted 2 years of a good football
So,
team. That's what I
or
think about.
even that. Some people, some people that's the most recent. You know what I mean? Like they don't remember, the playoff games after that. They just remember those comments. That's the most recent thing they remember from him.
Well, I
And
think
with the
me too. Like I feel like I can separate Drew Brees the player and Drew Brees the person. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking more about Drew Brees the player. Drew Brees the person. If that's how you feel outside of it, hey, I don't like it.
But that's the
But
thing,
that's him.
okay?
You
But
know?
that's the thing. What is
but
Drew Brees the commentator? Is he in between the player and the person? You know what I mean? Like, because we're
Yeah,
not
because you
talking
gotta
about
like
him
the
as a
commentator
player
too.
or as a person. We're talking about him as a commentator and his entitlement as a commentator. You get what I'm saying?
He
So,
wasn't that good as a commentator though.
but he feels like,
he really, I didn't.
according, I honestly, I never listened to him do the Notre Dame game, so I don't really know. But I feel like that's where these comments stem from. Is
Yeah,
basically his um
his
I get
stance or no stance
yeah,
against the
basically like he kind of went to NBC like, look, you're not finna box me in. I still got all these other options I can do. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and basically trying to leverage them for a better position or more money or whatever the case may be. And I feel like these comments are saying, dude, you're
You're
not
not
who you
good.
think you are. You're not gonna be able to have
You're
that
not that guy,
leverage.
pal.
Yeah, pretty
yeah.
much.
All
Yeah.
right. So with that, the
Yeah.
the 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 person behind that, what Drew was saying, Colin Kaepernick, he's back in the news. He had a tryout with the Vegas Raiders, and from all intents and purposes, Josh McDaniels said he looked really good, but no offers on the table. My question, although he may have the talent and he may be better than some people, that are, they're not, in my opinion, they're not 64 quarterbacks since we last saw him that are quote unquote better than him. But can Kaepernick ever get a fair tryout in the NFL
I think
again?
I think
The
Kaepernick
key
would
the
never
key the key word
ever
was
be
fair,
another
right?
The key
starting
word is fair.
in the NFL again.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why I don't think he'll ever get one, and it's the same reason Cam Newton may not ever get one. It's because even if you bring him in or he as a quality quote unquote backup, you don't want the backup getting more press than your starter.
That's a good point. I don't
Um,
even think that. I don't think that's the case, though, bro.
I don't
I
think
don't
that's
think that's the case, but I think it'll
But
play a
that's a valid point, though. That's the all right. That gives them everything they need from a deniability point.
out just about it. That's a way out for the front office to say,
Yep,
we don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But
But
if you was a fly on the wall in them decision making rooms,
I already know what they saying.
I think that's also part of the reason why Cam Newton took a while to get a job,
Uh,
because it's gonna take a Robert Kraft type owner who kind of buck the system type owner to sign a Kaepernick or a Cam Newton. Now the Mark David, he that type of owner, you know what I mean, to buck the system, but I just don't see it.
uh, Nurse Court.
can I ask
I
you guys
think
a question?
he was in. Yeah, I think he was injured, but I don't think he
He
was
was
just benched.
he was benched for
Oh, he
Blaine
was.
Gabbert. Yeah, he was benched
Okay.
for Blaine Gabbert, but he came in
Okay.
in relief role and won some games for him.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah,
So
and
the
then
last time Colin Kaepernick played, it was in 2016. The starting
yeah.
quarterbacks in 2016 was Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. Hold on, I got it pulled up right here.
Russell.
Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson. Did I already say Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah,
Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady.
Andrew Luck.
Most of those guys are on the back end of their career for the most part, right? Or some of them are out of the NFL completely. Joe Flacco, Andrew Luck, Carson Palmer, Andy Dalton, um, Eli
So
Manning. You know what I'm
Andy
saying? Like,
Dalton. All right, Andy Dalton. All right, prime example. Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is a backup in the league right now.
yeah,
You mean to tell
he
me
was
that?
balling.
But you mean to tell me that Kaepernick can't play that same role for a team?
No, he can definitely be a. My stance is he would never ever probably start a game in the NFL again.
I wouldn't say that.
He'll never take another snap in the
Yeah,
NFL again.
A
now
meaningful snap.
I don't. You ain't got to put the meaningful in
you
it.
got to be on the team to take a snap.
Snap. Period.
Yeah,
I don't
I feel that.
make a team.
Well, hold on, because he might make this. Somebody might sign to a training camp, practice squad deal for hard knocks type stuff. You know what I mean? But in a game, he would never take a snap.
Okay, I
I
got a
don't see
spin-off
that.
question to this. Go
Go ahead. Go ahead.
all right, because we know what Kaepernick, I don't think it's so much the social justice stance, but the lawsuit that is a bigger issue for him. So
Yeah.
with that being, against the so with that being said, does that put it's writing on the wall for Brian? He'll never be a
Nope.
head.
Nope. Well, head coach. No, he ain't never gonna be a head coach. That's dead. He ain't never
Wait,
gonna
what?
be a head coach. Brian Flores ever be a head coach?
Oh no, yeah, it's done. I mean, he got blacklisted.
That's what I'm saying. Well, he a coach. He a linebackers coach now because somebody like Mike Tomlin bucked the system and
That's
hired
it.
him anyway. You
That's
get
the
what I'm
only
saying?
only
So
way.
it's gonna take somebody like that for him to even get a shot. Head coach, not happening. And that's
Right.
the same reason why what I'm saying. The owners aren't gonna sign Kaepernick because he sued them. You know what I mean? The owners aren't finna hire Brian Flores because he sued them. That's why it's only gonna be somebody like Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones, who just don't care,
Yeah,
who
they can
gonna
do what they
do
want
what
to.
they want to do.
And
Exactly.
we know Jerry Jones is not doing it.
Nah. The
And
Rams owner, he one of the ones who could do whatever he want to do. You know what I mean? It's like it's a handful of owners who can do whatever they want to do. But most of them don't got the mindset. Isn't the Raiders on Hard Knocks this year? I don't know who on Hard Knocks
I
this
thought it
year.
was the Cardinals.
I think it is the Cardinals. And there's somebody doing the in season one, the Jets maybe. Um,
Don't nobody
but
want to see that.
Nah, I agree with y'all though. Neither one of them ever gonna be a head coach or a starting quarterback or a quarterback period in the league.
They're on that blacklist.
Okay, so with that being said, keep that Brian Flores, and I'm gonna throw
Keep
in the Rooney Rule. Keep that
keep
in your
that
mind.
and
Keep
keep
that
that
in your.
Kaepernick situation in your mind too.
We'll be back to that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to some college football.
Hey, can we take
Wow.
a quick break right quick before we jump into the big segment?
Okay, let's go ahead.
Public service and PSA. Right?
Oh
Hey,
snap!
can you go ahead and cue that you know. All right, guys. So please, this is the infomercial for the Golden Boot Podcast. I just want to say thank you all for your support. Our audience is growing, and we're all wanting to bring on more guests. And we want to do more giveaways. And if you've seen Ant's background, we want to get by him another background because we're tired of looking at his buns. But anyways, so if you don't have money, it's okay. You still can show your support by liking and sharing our content, interacting in our comment section, and also word of mouth. Guys, we're wanting to grow our podcast, and we need you to do it. We got a lot of good things that we want to do for the upcoming football season, and we just want to make it happen. Also, if you have a crazy uncle, your Uncle Benny, tell him about the podcast, right? Shoot him a DM. Hey, come check out the guys. Come check out Pooh Bear. Come check out Ed, Petty Murphy, and your favorite guy, Daniel D. Williams. Come check us out. But not only that, guys, we also are looking for interns that can help with our social media websites, also help with video editing, and just some young people who can make us sound cool. All right. So, but if you know anybody that's interested, tell them to hit us up in our DMs. And again, guys, thank you again for your support. And please like and share and comment.
All right.
I like that.
Thank you, Daniel, for that wonderful interruption. All right, let's move on to some college football. While we were out, there was a very spicy interaction between Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher. Everybody knows the story. Nick Saban was at at an event for the promoting the World Games in Birmingham, Alabama. He made comments about NIL. He was asked a question. He started making comments about NIL, and he went after Texas A&M, Miami, and of all places, Jackson State and Travis Hunter. Interesting. Jimbo fired back, and Jimbo came with pretty much, hey, I know where the skeletons are hidden. You ain't nothing, not in those words, but you know, I know some things about you, you know, and don't make me tell about, you know, saying why you eating them little debbies. So I guess the question is, who's right, who's wrong?
Uh,
Thoughts,
Mm,
I,
our thoughts. I mean, I know
I
everybody's talked about it, but
I think they both right and they both wrong.
okay.
I of course Jimbo Texas A&M did something to get this recruiting class. I mean, let's you naive if you think otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
right.
I'm not saying that what they did was illegal by any means, but I'm just saying they did something to get this recruiting class.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Nick Saban had the number 2 recruiting class, so you can't sit up there and say, "Hey, number 1 cheated, but we're number 2, and we did everything." You know what I mean? So you did something. That's why I feel like he's wrong because you point fingers and 3 fingers pointing right back at you for what you've been doing. Now I'll say Jimbo is not wrong. He's right in defending his program and his players, especially his players and their families from what they were being accused of from Saban. But I feel like he's wrong in attacking Saban's character personally, calling him narcissist, calling him a god, and thinking he's God, all that kind of stuff. Like basically, I just feel like I'll get to that in a second. Um,
That's my point.
but I just feel like he could have just kept it football. You know what I mean? You didn't have to bring up his character and taxpayer and Saban also. You ain't had to bring Jackson State in this, bro. You don't play Jackson State, they're not on your level. They FCS, you FBS. You will never play Jackson State. There was no need. I just felt like you was picking all the low hanging fruit that you could. You know what I mean? All the
Straight.
hot topic. All the hot topic name. You was just going after everything you could, and that's kind of uncharacteristic for Saban. I think that's why he came out publicly apologized because he knew it was a bad look for him. But I think they both got a little right, both got a little wrong.
I'll say this. I think that Jimbo, the best thing Jimbo could have did was just not say anything. Honestly, I mean, well,
You got to defend
let me not say
defend
that.
your
You got to
players.
say,
Disagree.
yeah,
With that.
you got to say something because you can't have people thinking that you really had a budget of $30 million to give to all those recruits. Because I've heard the
Why?
point. Well, because
Why?
think about it. Next year, he's trying to recruit. Kids are going to be asking him, well, hey, didn't you give this kid probably 10 million, 2 million, $3 million? I heard about it. Well, we all know that that's not the case. Those kids are probably getting what, $50,000, $25,000 to pay. Some of them probably a little bit more. But you don't want guys thinking they literally are going to be expecting a $10 million paycheck. You know what I'm saying, to go play at Texas A&M. And for him, you want to get out in front of that, and you want to make sure people know that no, we're not paying kids. We don't have a $30 million collective. You know what I'm saying? Which they probably do, right?
I think the
I don't
money.
see a
I think yeah. Go ahead, boo.
no. I don't see a problem with people thinking that. I mean, if you set your, you set your I guess your boundaries up front. You can still set your narrative. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's wrong for if somebody else thinks that what they think. The best thing I've ever heard. Let me put it like this: what you think of me is none of my business.
True.
That's very true. I
So
say I say this though. I disagree with you about him coming out and saying um, the 30 million part. That's the irrelevant part to me. The part that he had to come out and say was we as Texas A&M didn't give these kids anything. We didn't promise these kids any. He had to come out and say that. He had to come out and say we didn't break any NCAA violations and how we got these recruits to this campus.
But
That's
the
the
thing
part he had
is,
to come out. Let the kids think about the money because that's not on him for the money. The money
well,
is coming from the collective. The collective got to handle that part. My part is just to make sure that kids get on campus to where the collective can talk to them.
right. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Will Wade. Will Wade came out and said, I didn't have anything to do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have anything to do illegal. with my basketball program. And guess
Mm-hmm.
what? They
As he,
found
as he's
everything.
okay.
So my thing is,
But was he supposed to say? Was he supposed to say otherwise?
But my point is, if there is something to be found, they're gonna find it.
Okay, but you still come
But
out
what's
and
the
say
point of
that you
coming
didn't
out and
do nothing.
denying it?
So you wanted Will Wade to come out and be like, "Yeah, I was paying players."
No, but you don't have to be all out and up front with it.
But that Jimbo has to. If you're trying to, first of all, that's like two totally different investigations. Because Will Wade was going to be investigated no matter what, because he was on wiretap. Jimbo was trying to keep an investigation from coming his way.
Exactly.
So that's even more reason to be proactive and say I ain't doing nothing.
But I think his words, I mean, they don't care about his words, man. If they want to go investigate them, which they're going to investigate them, they're going to find
Okay,
it.
but that's the thing. If they investigate him and find nothing, then he looks better. I disagree with that too. He
Yeah,
looks
I disagree.
better.
This the one I was disagreeing with, and
I disagree with both.
yeah.
But I want to go back to somebody else. Go up to the comment that somebody said Saban is about to unload the mother of all collectives.
Yeah, I think that's
I
a
heard.
good point. That
I've
was
been
one.
hearing people say that just like the transfer portal, just like the all these other things, he's just sending a warning. And I get it. That's normally what Saban does. But all those other things, Saban can control. Saban can control who he goes and gets out the transfer portal. Saban can control how he runs his offense. Saban can control all these kind of things. What he cannot control is how much money the boosters and fans and stuff of University of Alabama has. He cannot magically make them have more money than A&M or Texas. He can't do that. So if he can find a way to leverage the little money that they got better, yeah, I give him that. But there's no way he can magically make them outbid A&M or Texas. There's no way.
The thing is, I kind of get what Saban is saying, because it does have to. You have to put some kind of. Of course, you can't put a cap on it, but what's over the line? You get what I'm saying? To the point to where you
what
offer
you mean over the line?
And these deals are only like $20,000, $50,000. They're not dramatic. I mean, Saban can compete with that. He can compete with
For
that.
now, okay. Then when Saban offers them $50,000 to compete, A&M ups it to $100,000.
And then they up it to 200,000, and then they
And
up.
then eventually, there's a point that A&M is going to outbid Alabama, and there's nothing Saban can do about that. There's nothing he can do.
I honestly don't see that happening. I just don't. Nobody's about to pay a kid $500,000 to $1 million.
You don't know that.
I don't.
But we talking about people
that
with
has
more
already
money
happened
than,
though.
we talking about people with more money than sense. And whenever it's an ego thing at that point, bro, it ain't even about whether it's smart or not. It's just an ego of I want the kid to come to my school and not the other school, so I pay whatever.
Are they going to do that year in and year out?
They got the money, bro. It's more. They got multiple billionaires. They from Texas A&M.
Then you start talking about rate. So if you got a kid that you paid,
bro, it's a tax write-off to them. It's a tax
what?
write-off to them. It's a tax write-off to them.
It's a tax, but you don't get all that money back, man.
They don't care, bro. They don't care.
Money back.
They don't
care.
If
you do this every single year and the kids are not performing and they're not living up to that,
don't care.
You say that. You say that.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's still $2 million.
They've been doing it, bro. They've been doing it under the table for years. What's
under
the
table, but not with these figures. Not
that
with these
you know
figures.
of.
You can I wouldn't say that. So and then you said nobody's paying a kid $500,000. What was Stingley's deal with the airline?
$850K.
Yeah, but is that an individual or is that a corporation?
It don't matter. It's a deal.
But you're saying that, Daniel. But the thing is, and it's not going to be.
But we're also
hold on. Wait. Hold on.
How many CEOs of Fortune 500 companies does A&M have alumni?
They got a lot, and also Arkansas does too.
My point exactly. So A&M, if you want to go corporation game, A&M could do the same thing.
So does Arkansas. So does North Carolina. A lot of those schools.
I understand that, but Texas A&M has booster money and they got corporation money. Texas Longhorns have the same thing. Like, you know what school you ain't mentioned yet? Alabama.
Alabama got billionaires too, bro. Alabama got billionaire boosters, just like LSU has billionaire boosters also.
How
Mm.
many? How
I don't
many?
know how many, but they got them.
They ain't got nowhere near as many as
I,
they
I, I'll
know.
say I'll say
Guarantee
this.
you that. I
I'll
guarantee you that, bro.
I'll say this. I don't know how many Alabama has. I don't know how many Texas has. I don't know how many Louisiana has. But the optics and the perception, and perception is reality. Perception is that Texas got a whole bunch because of
Yeah,
oil money.
they got
They
the
do.
old
So
Just look at the
again,
endowments, bro. Just
and
look at
that's
the
a narrative.
endowments.
That's a narrative that's, to Ant's point, Saban can't control.
Can't.
Yeah.
But it sounds like to me a lot of people are scared, and they're scared of Saban. I know somebody who not. Let's
BK,
talk about
man.
our coach, Brian Kelly. Brian
Hey,
Kelly came out.
Saban only got 3 years, bro, and he retired. All right.
I don't know.
I don't know about that. I don't
ain't.
know. I don't know.
I've been
3
saying
years
that for the past 7 years,
I
bro.
don't know what motivates him at this point.
winning, and you see what happens when he doesn't win. He throws a temper tantrum
Well, I'll say this: has he? When the last time that he ain't even? Well, like, has he won every other year at least?
for the most part.
No.
Has he ever went 2 years in a row without winning?
Yeah.
Yes. He went 2018,
28,
2019.
20, but he won in 2020. All right. So
He
if he
won
goes,
2020.
I think if he goes this year and next year without winning, he might retire. If he
Yeah.
goes 3 years in a
3
row,
years. Yeah.
I can see that.
All
But
right.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Saban 70?
I think he's 72,
Yeah.
71, something like
Come on,
that.
man. 75.
I mean, let's. So you say that,
I know
but how old was Joe Paterno?
80 something.
82,
And
I think.
and I'm be honest with you, he probably still would have been coaching. Him when he was removed from coaching, that killed him.
Yeah, nah, he died from a broken heart. I agree.
Yeah.
And Saban still look like he's in a lot good shape, but
So did Brian Kelly. I didn't know that man was 60.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That jock interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's when I found out that man was 60.
So again, back to where we were going before
Right. My bad.
Daniel brought us back to Saban, because I don't want to talk about Saban all night.
Hey.
Brian Kelly, but we are going to talk about it here. Brian Kelly had several interviews. One of the things he did mention, one of the things he wants to do before he retires is beat Nick Saban. Some people had problems with that. But let's think about this.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm saying? They were saying, oh, your whole career shouldn't be about beating Nick Saban.
Well,
But the one thing about Brian Kelly that he is knocked for is not winning a national championship. Who stopped him twice from winning the national championship?
Nick Saban.
Nick Saban.
I say
Now,
this too, though. I say this too. Isn't Saban considered the best college coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to be the best, who do you have to beat?
Got to beat the best.
The
He's
best.
at the mountaintop.
So shouldn't he want to beat Nick Saban if he wants to be the best coach? Like, I'm not. I don't see why people are acting like it's the craziest thing. Like, that he said he wants to beat Nick Saban. I think if you ask every college coach, they say they want to beat Nick Saban.
Right.
So with that again, let me circle back to
Didn't
now.
Jimbo put out last year?
If you are LSU, who do you have to beat to win? And matter of fact, if you beat them, aren't you pretty much
Guaranteed
rolling
spot.
rolling to a national championship?
Yeah.
Nick Saban. So
yeah. The path to the national championship goes to the SEC West in the SEC for the most part.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you beat Bama, for the most part, you're in there.
I got a question. Is Rich? That's your boy, right? Your homeboy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is he an Alabama fan? Because he is real heavy.
Yes.
Promoting Nick Saban.
His man just said,
Alabama.
That man said Nick Saban the best ever. Hey, you need to go look up a man named Eddie Robinson.
I mean,
yeah.
Saban is the best.
Robinson.
Speaking of, Chance Babin actually said
Paterno. I saw that, man. Hey, don't disrespect Eddie like that.
I completely disagree. Now, now Paterno, maybe Bowden was forced out for Jimbo who
Eddie
then
Robinson,
ran
Eddie
into the
Robinson,
ground.
Eddie Robinson. I'm not letting you disrespect Eddie like
Yeah,
that,
I
man.
can't. I
Excellent
can't.
coach, Hall of Fame,
The
Hall of Fame.
GOAT. The
Yeah,
GOAT.
Yeah,
100%. But Nick Saban is doing something right now before our eyes that it's honestly never been done before.
So did
He's
Eddie
on a run.
Robinson.
He's on a
So
run.
did Eddie Robinson. But yeah.
I'm saying
mm,
before my eyes, I didn't see Eddie Robinson coach.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We living in history right now.
poor you.
Did you see
All
Eddie
right.
Robinson coach?
Yes, it
Yes.
wasn't. Yeah,
He coached in
he
the 90s, bro.
90 what?
They retired in like 97, 96, 97, something like that.
That was when Tupac died. That was 6. Yeah.
bro, killing me. All right,
I don't remember.
all right. Sticking with LSU. 98 days till kickoff.
Yeah.
It's
Let's
around the corner.
go.
As a matter of fact, it has been announced all the September games are going to be home night games in Tiger State. Well,
Hey,
the first game will be in the dome, but
let's
everything
go.
else is a night game. The Southern game.
Yes, the
Speaking
Southern
about
game. The
speaking about
Southern game.
the dome, your boy won free tickets, you know what I'm saying? To the Florida State game. If you're going to the Florida State game, please drop a 1 in the comment section. Because I know Aunt Petty Murphy gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? Pooh Bear, you gonna be there? What's up?
I'm gonna try. I'm trying to get there.
Hey,
I'm trying
Hey,
to
we
get there.
but
excited.
forget. Hey, can we talk about
I got a
that,
better. I got a better
next
question.
game though?
Yeah, I got a better
Who gonna
question.
be in that game?
Oh, I'm be there.
So with that game being on a Sunday, can if we all get up in New Orleans, let's do a show together
Let's go.
live.
Let's
Okay.
go.
I'm cool.
We're doing it
All right,
before the game though, right?
We're gonna have to. Well, yeah, we have to pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Jeez,
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be an early morning game too. I
I'm
mean,
all
early
for it.
morning show.
I'm on for it.
Dylan put a negative once. I wish I could go. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
So
Hey, that Southern game gonna be live though. I ain't gonna
that's
lie.
a game I would love to be at. So
Yes. I really believe that game is gonna be sold out. I think you
Yeah,
really
that's
gonna
gonna
see
it is.
that's gonna be the
I
craziest
can.
game of
Yeah.
the season, I think.
I'm
Ooh,
excited about that.
Yeah.
Southern playing LSU playing Nick. Ooh.
Boy, LSU better not attempt to play Nick.
Nah.
They
Honestly, LSU should just let Southern have the halftime completely.
yeah, fat. Just switch. You know how they get a visiting band like 5 minutes and then the home band like 15 minutes? Just
Yeah.
swap that. Get
Yep.
LSU band like 5 minutes and let Southern have the rest of the time.
Is it?
All right. Another thing, we did talk about Brian Kelly doing several interviews. He had actually two big ones. He did one with Jacques Doucette, and he did one with one of his former players, and talked about leaving Notre Dame. Did y'all? I actually watched both today again.
A couple of times.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
good.
really good, very
Really
insightful.
good. Man, that
what
dude, that
And I
dude.
think the
So
one he did with his player, his former player, I think he did that before the spring game too.
yeah, I think
That's what-
man,
he did.
Yeah. And
it just it's just so refreshing to have an articulate coach.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something that I liked about that. He talked to because the guy, the player, was talking about just starting up his podcast, and Brian Kelly said, "Hey, I don't usually do this, but for you, I would do anything."
Mhm.
And that's a former player. That everybody talks about. We've heard some of the negative stuff about Brian Kelly. I've seen so many positive things, before this season has even started. And heard so many positive,
They mentioned that in the Jock interview. They mentioned he talked about how some of the narrative I guess around him, you know what I mean, from and the way he's kind of portrayed and viewed by ESPN and some of the other people broadcasting the game and stuff like that. And he talked about how at LSU, he kind of has a fresh start to a certain extent. He can kind of be more of himself. And they talked about the Walker Howard video, and he's like, he wouldn't have did that when he was at Notre Dame. You know what I mean? Because he had to conduct himself a certain way, because of the environment he was around and all these things. But now that he's at LSU, he can be a little more loose, and he can kind of show that other side of him that he never really got to show. And I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing him crack jokes and show that sense of humor he got, but also kind of show that he still mean business, and he about winning football games and he about changing the culture and all that. But he's showing that he laid back guy at the same time.
I think too is I want to say two things. So I think we'll see the real Brian Kelly whenever the season starts. I think right
That's
now,
true too. That's
of
true.
course, like, hey, everything is positive, right? Everything is good. We're on the up and up. You know what I'm saying?
Wait till some adversity hit.
Exactly. We're signing top players. The NIL collective is coming together. There's no adversity right now. And for the most part, the good thing about looking at those interviews is you could tell like his former player had a lot of respect for him. And I think that guy's actually in the NFL too. And, that means a lot. Whenever you can go back to your coach who's at a completely different program, come in, tour their facilities, and also sit in their facilities and interview your coach, right? And the guy was with him for 6 years. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, you go back to when you play high school sports, you was with your coach for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And you got to know who that person was in and out. And if we're looking at all the media headlines, we're supposed to hate BK, right? He's supposed to be a terrible person. His players, his coaches, no one liked him. But whenever you got guys that are coming back and still have that high respect for you and can joke around with you and kid with you and say, Coach, I'm actually happy that you chose this school. You know what I'm saying? To me, that speaks volume of his character. And not only that, I'm excited for him, man. I'm excited for BK because I really believe that he came here for the right reasons. And we finally got a guy who has a really good head on his shoulders. So,
yeah. I mean, that's what he said. He said it wasn't the money that brought him down here. It was to come coach at LSU. That's point blank period why he down here. You know what I mean? So you could tell that's the right reason. He came down here because of the players, the facilities, and the chance to compete for a championship year in and year out. And that's what it's about for him.
And another thing that stood out to me whenever he was interviewing with Jock was he said that, some of the players that left whenever he first got there, he said, hey, we set a standard.
Mm-hmm.
And some
of those people
guys,
couldn't realize it.
They couldn't meet that standard. So, and that's the thing. He's not going to lower his expectations so some guys can hit it. You got to rise up there and you got to go get it. So, to me, I like that, right? You hold those guys to the point because, like you said, hey, we're trying to graduate our players. So, if you got guys that are willing to do whatever it takes to go to class, just show up. Be on time for class. That's easy. If you can do that, if you can show up, then, hey, I don't have to worry about you jumping off sides. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about you not knowing the plays. You know what I'm saying? It's just the small things.
That's what he said. He's like, if you're not skipping class, then you're not gonna be jumping off sides. If you're not, you know what I mean? It's the small thing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of that, do y'all remember any pre-snap penalties during the spring game?
I do. The defensive line talked a lot.
Yeah, defensive line. Yeah, the defensive line had a couple. I think they had one on a fourth down too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or a third and short. They had one to get a first down.
Yeah.
But it wasn't many. Okay. It wasn't many. But I would say this though, like you could tell that he mentioned it. It's not just what they do on the field. It's what they do in the classroom, what they do in the community, and it's how they carry themselves because they're representation of LSU and of the program as a whole. And so you could tell that he ain't just worried about what they do on Saturday nights in the fall. You know what I mean? He cares about what they're doing right now in January. You know what I mean? And no matter what time of year it is, or whether they're playing, or whether they're in the classroom, or whether they're just going through life as young men, he wants them to do it to the best of their ability, paying attention to all the small details and holding themselves accountable along the way. And you can't ask for more from a head coach and from a leader of young men than that.
100%. And you know what? The most important thing, because of course we all want LSU to win a national championship, right? But the most important thing is for these guys to graduate, and not only graduate is whenever they finish school, is to go out into the real world and be excellent men. You know what I'm saying?
Be prepared for the real world. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Be excellent fathers. Be excellent mentors. They go back into their communities and change their communities. That's what it sounds like he wants to build. Because those guys, they're only going to be there for 4 years.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what stands out to me.
It's holistic, bro. Yeah.
That graduate champions. He said that many times, and it's becoming a sticking point.
Because look, at the end of the day, whenever you turn off the lights whenever you play your last down in LSU football stadium, and let's say you don't have an NFL career thing, which you will have, you'll have your degree, you'll have the relationships that you
network.
built, you'll have those contacts, and you'll forever be able to say, I graduated from LSU and I played for the Tigers.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
that network and that family
yeah,
never
that's
leaves.
important. That's important.
Yeah. So in order to graduate a champion, you actually have to come to the school. So let's move on to recruiting. Let's talk about
Yeah.
that. This week, Eli Hosting announced his commitment to Alabama. Um, is this a big deal? Or as big a deal as some people have made it?
I got one thing about Eli Holstein. How does Alabama steal Eli Holstein if Eli Holstein was never coming to LSU?
Mm.
Well, the fact that he is from Louisiana, you get what I'm saying? And
So every time he gets a player from Louisiana, he's stolen from LSU.
yeah, he's in your backyard.
But he wasn't coming here.
Yeah, I mean, if we went to got a kid that was from Alabama, exactly.
So
I
we
get it.
stole
I
so we
understand that.
stole Flat.
But yep,
I don't
Stole
think
deal for real.
I don't think it was presented that way, but yeah.
Yeah. I thought,
but I'm just saying. Okay, so let me ask you a question. So let me ask you a question. So let's say Eli, because I honestly don't believe that he's going to be there. He's going to stay the entire time in Alabama. But let's say he does, and let's say it's a Saturday night and he's killing it. He's on the way to win a Heisman, right? Because he's playing with all these good Alabama players. He might not even be that great. But you know what they're going to say the entire game? That kid's from LSU. I mean, that kid's from Louisiana. He grew up in Louisiana. He grew up right down the street.
Okay, but check this out. Check this
That's
out.
going to be the
So
narrative.
whenever
many
Walker
times have you
Howard when Walker Howard beats Eli Holstein, and they're gonna say, well, that's the reason why Eli Holstein went to Alabama right there is because he couldn't beat out Walker Howard. He couldn't beat him out in high school, and he didn't want to go to college and try to beat him out again. So we're not gonna put the whole context into it. Like that's majority of the kid moved from St. Thomas More to Zachary.
Yeah.
That ain't right up the road. You know what I mean? That's and why did he do that? Because he didn't want to sit behind Walker Howard. So he's not gonna sit behind Walker Howard in high school. But you mean to tell me he's gonna come to LSU and sit behind him in college? Makes no sense. He was never coming to LSU, man. And I understand Alabama has talented, quarterbacks there too. True, it's 100% facts. But none of those guys have already beat him in the head-to-head battle.
I get it. But let me ask you something. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that Eli Holstein is better than Arch Manning? Because right now, Arch Manning is the number one player in the country, right?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Well, but what does that mean?
So you're telling me that you wouldn't want Eli Holstein on your team?
I never said that. I just said that
he would rather lose to your biggest rival.
He wasn't coming here. What do you like? How is you gonna get him to come here? Get Walker Howard to transfer out? Would you want that? If was that what you want to get Eli Holstein? Lose Walker Howard? Is it worth it at that point?
Hey, I don't think it is, but it
just
don't
look
good. Look, it just don't look good when you lose.
Who cares how it looks? That's the problem, bro. That's the problem. Like y'all, you worry about optics, but you're not. And so is Walker Howard, but you can't have both. So which one you choosing? The one who's already here, or the one who might come here?
Honestly, I think we still can get him in a couple of years anyway. So I get you.
Maybe so, but who cares?
But the point is, my point is, I understand he's talented, and I understand he's from Louisiana. But just because he's talented and from Louisiana doesn't mean LSU had a chance to get him. And if they had a chance to get him, you don't want what they got to do for that chance to happen. Nobody wants to lose Walker Howard. And if that's the only way you get that chance, then it's not worth it. Go get Dante Moore, who will come here no matter what. You know what I mean? He don't have to. Walker don't have to leave for him to come. You know what I mean? Like there's other options out there. They might not be in state, but who cares? Dante Moore better than Eli Holstein anyway.
I was just gonna say you mentioned about Dante Moore. Another thing, every kid in your state can't go to your school. So, I mean,
And I say this too with the transfer portal. I his all right. I ain't want to do this, but his brother went to Harvard, right? Caleb Hosteen, then transferred to Louisiana Tech. So who's to say that little Hosteen ain't finna be running back to the boot in a year or two anyway?
I
So
think that's what's going to happen.
so if that's the case, then why is it such a big deal if he leaves?
Because anytime you get a kid that's very talented that goes to Alabama, it stings. I don't care how many times you say he didn't want to come to LSU. That don't
So
matter.
okay,
I get
okay.
it. But the fact that you lose
It don't
a
sting to
very
me.
talented,
It don't sting to me if the dude don't
okay,
want to
it
be
don't
here.
sting to you. It sting to me.
He
It
Daniel,
don't
don't
want
have
to
to
be
sting
here,
to you.
dude.
Daniel, did
Okay,
it?
so
Hold,
Get it,
did
bro.
go ahead,
Daniel
bro.
did his thing when Hootie?
Oh, and we got Jamal Adams? No.
Yeah. Okay, so if we get Dante Moore, you still gonna be crying?
I ain't crying out, bro. No. I ain't crying out. You know
You
what I'm
crying?
saying?
You
Look
crying?
at
Your allergies acting up.
What I'm saying
Hey,
is, what I'm saying is,
if we get Dante Moore, I'll be ecstatic. But let's get him. Let's get him in.
I say this too. I say this too. If Eli hosting to Alabama means Alabama don't get Arch Manning, is that okay with you?
Nah, because I think Eli Hosteen is better than Arch Manning.
Oh, okay. Me
Mm,
too. But that's
yeah,
the thing, bro. Like LSU, we got an in-state kid last year who was a 5-star. You know what I mean? Like, and I know the only reason it's a big
the
deal.
number one in the nation
Yeah,
too.
it's a big deal because it's the quarterback position, and Louisiana never produces them, and we probably gonna miss out on Arch and Holstein. So it's a big deal. But if you look at it, if we get Dante Moore, or even if we don't get Dante, if we get the other kid,
Ricky Collins.
no, the kid from California, uh,
Talking about
his name
Malachi
stuff.
Nelson.
Nah, he going to Tennessee.
Yeah, he going to USC.
USC. Nico going to Tennessee.
He's committed to
Nico
Tennessee.
going to Tennessee.
You talking
What's
about
the dude?
Jaden Rashada?
Rashada. Yeah, Rashada.
Okay.
And so if we get either one of them two, you know what I mean, then nobody's letting this don't matter. This is a Hootie Jones, Jamal Adams situation if we get one of them two
Trade off.
dudes.
100%.
So I think right now it's the whole fear mongering, the skies ending. It's part of it is fear mongering, bro, because you're set at the quarterback position right now with Nussmeier and with Walker Howard. And if you get one quarterback at one of them two, Moore or Rashada or Ricky Collins, then it ain't that big of a deal.
But you have to get those guys in.
Bro, it's not even summertime yet.
I
Like,
get it.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
so what you crying for? Like, what's everybody crying for? Like, we ain't even hit
hold up?
August yet.
Hey, quick
Because
question. Quick question. Does it matter in the transfer portal era?
Not as much, no. I don't think. Because I mean, look,
Does it matter if you get a
you can go get
5-star
you can go
now
get a
or
Jaden Daniels at the portal.
yeah, that is true, dude. Yeah. I mean, that's true. I ain't go down that hill, but I'm gonna be honest with you. So I'm looking at Louisiana's top 10 players right now. And
Here we
I'm
go.
gonna go down this list.
Here we go.
Let me
Okay.
go down this list.
I'll let you go down. Then
Falling.
I'm gonna let you go down because and if you go where I think you go, I gotta something to say about it. Go ahead though.
Perfect. All right, so Arch Manning. So he ain't coming here. Shelton Sampson Jr. What do y'all think? Do we get him?
Yep.
Most
The kid
likely.
out of Catholic, out of Baton Rouge.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, because I'm hearing that we might not, because it's a battle right now, NIL battle, from my understanding.
Okay.
Jaden Osbury.
Probably not.
Okay. Derek Williams from Westgate.
I think that's a battle as well.
Toss up.
Yeah.
Between who?
A&M and us.
So that's another NIL battle?
I'm not speaking on that, but I think it's a toss up.
Okay. So we already know Eli, he's going Tacky Curtis.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we get them, but I think LSU is
in a better spot.
A much better spot than they have been.
Okay. I hope we get him. So Amarion Miller. He's already committed.
He committed.
Jordan Matthews.
I think we're in a good spot with that one as well. Last I heard.
I think it's gonna depend on what some of the other guys are higher than him on the board do, but I think it's possible that we get him.
Got it. And you got Colin Jackson and you got Zaylance Hurd.
Taylor's already committed, right?
Nah, I'm gonna be quiet on him.
Okay. Oh, well, we'll talk off mic.
All right. But my point is, normally, guys, whenever we have very talented national championship winning teams, they're filled with Louisiana guys. My thing is, whenever we go out of state, primarily to the West Coast, a lot of those guys don't stick around. I'm just being honest.
Okay, let me do me a favor. Go to last year's class.
Okay.
And tell me how many of them were in-state dudes.
2022.
I keep telling y'all the key to win a national championship, what you got to have on y'all roster. Y'all think I'm biased.
Anyway, we ain't worried about them 251 guys. But anyway,
I'm just saying Cardell Flott.
I'm just saying. But look at last year.
Chevis Jackson.
Look at last year. Look at last year's squad. Look at last year's class. What did it look like?
That's a lot of Louisiana and Texas kids on this list.
My point. So don't you have a foundation that's a national championship foundation that you brought in last year?
Oh, also, Daniel, what I was gonna get to, because like I said, I knew you were going. This year's class, not trying to be, not disrespecting. This year's class in Louisiana is not as coveted.
It's good. It's good, but the positions that they're top heavy at are positions that LSU aren't necessarily needy positions. You know what I mean?
Hey, quick question. Where's Trey Holly on that list?
I think he's number 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's all the way down there. He's good.
You got him. Yeah.
Trey Holly's good. Don't get me wrong, good. But let me also ask you this. So with them extending the scholarship rule, does your numbers really matter now? Can you take more safeties and cornerbacks than what you would have maybe a year or two ago?
But you still have to be smart about it, though.
Yeah, you can't. Because you can't go over 85. So you can sign more. You can sign more than 25, but you still can't go over 85.
But
so if you got 15 corners on your roster already, you don't need to go sign 8 just because you can.
But how many of those quarterbacks are going to leave after next year or the year after that?
You don't count on that though. You can't live.
You got the transfer portal too now, bro. You don't have to bring in high school dudes for numbers.
The thing that I think people are forgetting about with the transfer portal is a good thing, but what you can't forget about is, of course, player development, and not only that, chemistry, coaching chemistry, player chemistry. Like, you can't forget about that stuff. I understand that the transfer portal is great, but you don't always want to rely on the transfer portal.
Okay. You're making it seem like the only way you can utilize the transfer portal is to get a guy who's come in as an immediate contributor. You can use the transfer portal to get a guy like Wes Weeks, who might not play right away, but might be in your system for a year or two, developing and getting chemistry before he's asked to play. So there's multiple ways that you can utilize the transfer portal. You don't have to always sign guys out of high school. You go at the transfer portal so you can see them a year in a college program to see how they develop physically, how they develop on the field, how they're doing in the classroom, and all those kind of things. So it's not as much of a gamble as signing a high school kid.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and also with the extended scholarships, now you can actually take a chance and get somebody who can be a development player or developmental player versus getting someone. Hey, I'd have to have someone who could possibly fill in and start now. So I don't think so. It goes back. You don't just because they're top 10 in your state doesn't mean you necessarily have to have them.
Well, I get what you're saying though. You need young guys. You can't have nothing but juniors and seniors on your team. You need younger guys that you are developing. But what I'm saying is those young guys don't have to be guys you signed out of high school. They can be a guy who went somewhere else for a year and then it could be a Trey Bradford who went somewhere for a year and then came back. It could be a Wes Weeks. It could be a
Trey Bradford ain't even go for a year.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
it could be a guy who went somewhere for a year or two, got their feet wet, developed physically. Like Makai Gardner. Maybe he had developed, Kyron Lacy. Maybe they had to develop physically a little bit before
Major
they could.
Burns.
Major Burn. It's all kind of,
And
it's all
Chance,
kind of situations.
100%. But Chance does bring up a good point. I was watching Carter show last night, Power, and he brought up an excellent point about Louisiana 3-star players and saying that a lot of times. Can you put Chance's stuff up there? Chance said, "I'll take a Louisiana 3-star over an out-of-state 4-star, just because they're probably going to feel like they owe you. They're going to feel like they owe the program, and not only that, they're from Louisiana. You get what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this: Would you rather that 3-star go to a school like Arkansas and actually play for a year or two, then come back, or would you rather that 3-star sit on the bench and develop and practice for LSU, then play as a junior or senior?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You see what I'm saying? Because with the transfer portal. But how many Louisiana guys came back this year in the transfer portal? Right. You have 2 from Arkansas. You had the UL guys. You had Nard Converse. You had Noah Kane. You know what I mean? You had a bunch of guys come back home. Right. Louisiana guys want to play in Louisiana a lot of the time. So even if they don't come to LSU straight out of high school, if they get a chance to come back and they've already got proof of what they can do, it's not all potential like they would be if they sat on the bench. You know what I mean? It might be a better situation for LSU. I feel you. I don't think there's no right or wrong answer in this. You know what I mean? It's just it's more than one way to skin a cat. And I think that Brian Kelly I think what the staff is doing is they're valuing players who want to come to LSU. You know what I mean? They're not doing that well, what can you offer me? What can you offer me type game. If you want to come here, go ahead and commit.
Right. That brings me to the next point. Can Brian Kelly lock down Louisiana? Now, the second part of this is, can any coach do it? I want to throw a third caveat. Do you even necessarily need to do it now? Again, transfer portal is changing how you look at recruiting, and with the numbers.
Back to that first question first before we bring in the transfer portal. So can Ed Ogeron lock down Louisiana?
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No,
yes,
he didn't.
If you go look at the 2019.
Let me say this.
He locked down Louisiana.
He closed Louisiana off, but he didn't. I don't think he locked it down.
He didn't lock it down though.
Man, the top 10 recruits stayed home for the most part.
Where did Sofstra go? I mean, I know hindsight,
Beside, we kind of.
But it don't matter. But he was still a big time loss. Where did Fadarian Mathis go?
Let's bring this up, guys.
He didn't lock the state down, bro. He did a better job closing it off, but he didn't.
Better job.
I give you that, but he didn't completely close it off. And I feel like Brian Kelly could do the same thing as Ed Ogeron if with the staff he has put together with Sherman Wilson, with Joe Sloan, with Frank, with Hankton, with all those guys, with J.R. Belton and Arsenal and all those guys he got on the recruiting staff. He has the staff in place to be able to lock the state down if they wanted to. I think what he's doing though is they're doing an out-in approach instead of an in-out approach. You know what I mean? Like they're going and getting the guys from the outskirts who want to come, and then they'll narrow down their focus into Louisiana. Because like you said,
because that kind of backfired whenever ETN went to we pissed off a lot of kids like that.
Well, that's very true. That is very true. But at the same time, it's a difference whenever all right, we're going at the out-of-state guys who showing that they want to be here. You see what I'm saying? Like it's a difference whenever you chase Cam Akers, who's never really shown a lot of interest in the program. You get what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying.
Cam Akers at IMG too, so
yeah, I get what you're saying, but it's not necessarily the same situation. You do got to be careful though, and make sure you don't rub people the wrong way. But I think what they're doing is they're saying, look, in-state dudes, you got a spot if you want to come. But at the same time, we're not waiting on you, and we're not gonna be burned by the in-state kid no more neither. And to where we got to scramble around and go find somebody because we do miss out on an ETN or whatever the case may be.
I get it, but I'm hearing a lot of those in-state guys aren't even offered yet. So
who?
Where are you hearing all this stuff?
Hey man,
247 Tiger droppings.
You come to Spaces and you hear a lot of things.
Spaces,
Okay, bro. So you
spaces.
Well, we
so
had
so
Mike Scarborough in there the other
I
okay.
day.
know,
I
How,
need
I
I
how many
need
years
understand.
did he
I
play that? Hey,
I need
well, they
okay,
haven't
hold
offered
on.
that kid yet. They
So
haven't offered that
so
kid yet.
they haven't offered who?
So, from my understanding, hold on, let me look it up, and I want to
The
make sure.
running you talking about Caleb Jackson, the running back from Liberty?
So, Derek Williams, from my understanding, that relationship with Derek Williams is not as solid as people think. Is that
but
correct?
that's that. But they didn't. It's not that they didn't offer him.
That's not entirely true.
That's not the same issue.
Yeah, you said that he didn't they weren't offered. That ain't entirely true. And we got if you want to bring up spaces, we got a source in spaces who posted something the other night of Derek Williams in the LSU uniform and told me to post it as a matter of fact to
Hmm.
make sure it got posted.
Okay.
So let's bring up both sides of that coin there, buddy.
Okay. I like it. All right.
So
Mm.
that's what I'm saying. Like if you for every one of those LSU isn't doing enough, there's the other side of that where it's you know what I mean. LSU's got Tyron Matthew on the phone with this recruiter, or
I
LSU's
love it.
got this dude. They got Tackett Curtis and you know what I mean on campus for an unofficial visit and all this. You know what I mean. But on one hand, it's there's no way they can get Tackett, and on the other hand, it's they're making strides with Tackett. The truth somewhere in the middle,
And
dog.
look, let me make my point to this. I believe that we're going to pull in a lot of Louisiana guys. I'm not saying that. I believe that BK in his class, Frank Wilson, in his staff can come in and they can wreck shop on Louisiana kids. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just playing devil's advocate. That's it. That's all I'm saying. So before anybody say that I don't have faith in this staff, I do have faith in them. But just looking at the list right now, we are short on Louisiana kids. But it is May. In June and July, I do expect for a lot of those
Like,
guys to
can we
commit.
at least wait till camp, bro? Like, dang.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Cause this,
100%.
that ain't just for you. And that ain't just for you, Daniel. You know, that's for everybody with the whole skies falling type, you know,
Right.
mindset of what's going on with recruiting, bro. Like, give this man a chance.
hey, if
We said the same thing last year. My bad, Pooh. But we said the same thing last year before he turned a number 40 class into a number 6 class, right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like maybe the dude know what he doing.
true that.
I was just gonna say, speaking of spaces or Twitter, I've been seeing a lot of people posting them camp dates and them dates
Mm-hmm.
they gonna be on campus. So
Mhm.
and
Like
and
the number
those are a lot of Louisiana guys.
like the number one player in the country too, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
Yeah, bring
The
him
number
in.
one corner, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
number one corner, yeah.
Desmond Ricks.
Mhm.
Interesting, interesting. So a lot of this stuff we were going to talk about, we've just talked about. But the next one on here is the next commit.
Who is the next commit gonna be? That's a good question.
I got to vote.
Go
I,
ahead. What you got?
someone that was mentioned earlier, Sampson, Sheldon Sampson Jr.
Okay,
Okay.
nice. Who you got, Ant?
I ain't
And
gonna
I
say the
don't know.
person.
Ant know all the secrets, and Pooh Bear too. I
No,
don't
I
got
don't know. I
I
don't
just,
know. Hey, chill out.
I
Chill
just
out.
make,
Hey,
I
chill
just
out.
make educated
Producer.
guesses.
Producer, chill out, bro. That's mine.
Honestly, my dream commit, if I'm being completely honest with you, is it's a long shot. And some people like him and some people don't. But I pray that we get Tacky Curtis. I honestly believe that he would be a really good outside linebacker.
I think he'll be a good good fit, but I'm not. He's not as big of a fit for me. I think the other linebacker. I think Osbury is a
Osbury,
bigger. Yeah, I think he's a bigger need than Tackett. I think they both great players though. But my next commit is gonna be Rashada. He's if I'm not mistaken, it's the 18th of June that he's supposed to be announcing his commitment. And
Okay.
so I know Oregon there's been a lot of smoke with him going to Oregon. So I'm gonna hedge my bet and say if Rashada goes to Oregon and Dante Moore is the next LSU commit.
ooh,
Is one of the two quarterbacks.
you heard it here first on the Golden Boot.
If I'm wrong, just hit me up in my DMs at D Williams '97.
Hey, I know y'all see that right there. You see that? You see that right
Yeah.
there.
At underscore D Williams underscore 97 for all your hate mail, please.
For all you hate. Oh,
Nah, we need to start giving out Chris what you call for hate
Lord.
mail.
Right.
So, hey,
Oh,
we'll never we boy listen, we'll get canceled. Chris will
we
cuss
would.
everybody. Um, but let's fellas, let's take a quick break before we move on to baseball. Yeah.
All right.
So let's take a quick break. We'll be back in 30.
The Golden Boot Pod is proud to announce that merchandise is now available. We have everything from t-shirts and hoodies, to hats and beanies, to drinkware, to wearables and blankets. You can find it all under the merchandise tab at thegoldenboot.podbean.com or go directly to thegoldenboot.com. As always, thank you for supporting the Golden Boot Pod.
And just like that, we're back.
We
All
back.
right, fellas. I say fellas, I mean me and Ant. Let's talk some baseball.
I like baseball too. Go Tigers.
All right, so the baseball team went into the SEC. They had a big win over Kentucky in the first game that got moved 8 times in 2 days. And then they fell short to Tennessee, the number one Tennessee, 5-2, and then they lost to Kentucky in a rematch, 7-2. Um, it will start prior to that. LSU needs to win at least 2 games to host the regionals. And then it was, considered pretty much a lost cause once they lost to Kentucky. Some people, it's been battling back and forth all day whether LSU still had a chance to host. Me personally, I think that hope is out the window. And we just better just hope that we are
They're not
playing.
hosting. They're not hosting.
Yeah, I'm looking. I have not seen the announcement yet. Have you seen it?
I got the 16 host sites, but I don't know where
LSU's not
LSU's
hosting.
gonna go.
Okay.
Yeah, LSU's not hosting.
Okay. So bam,
Auburn,
there we go.
you got Auburn, Texas, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Maryland, A&M, Miami, Florida, Oregon State, Florida, East Carolina, Southern Miss, Tennessee, Louisville, Stanford, Georgia Southern, Oklahoma State.
All right, there you go. So, let's see here. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up. So this thing. But with that, and what do you think would be the best outcome for landing spots for LSU?
I think that's Southern Miss regional, honestly, bro. It's close enough to where you can still, bring all your fans and kind of make it Alex Box, esque. Um, I think that would probably be the best, and I think that's one of the more winnable regions. Georgia Southern Regional would be winnable, also, but I'm going Southern Miss.
Okay. At this point, is it more important who you have in your regional or who you're paired with in your
I think the big part is who that super regional
your pair,
opponent
right?
will be. Yeah, um, yeah. I don't know about that producer.
Mm-mm.
But
we want Tennessee not to play us. That's
yeah,
what
we want whoever Tennessee don't got. You know what I mean? Like we want
right.
the other. We want as far away from Tennessee as we can. The way them boys been playing this year, they've been almost unbeatable.
Right.
Yeah, I heard Tennessee.
Let me ask you this, Pooh. Yeah, they do. He legit too. What do you think? If Paul Maneri was the coach,
Mm-hmm.
and LSU was right on the outside of hosting a regional, I mean, there'd be the same kind of uproar, that there kind of is now, but there would almost be an expectation of, well, you got to go win that regional and go, to a super regional. Are the expectations the same for Jay Johnson? You know what I mean? Or is LSU expected to win this regional and go to a super regional?
I think they are. So here's the thing. Ironically, it feels like the expectations all seasons have been higher for Jay Johnson than they were for Paul Maneri. people started treating Jay Johnson like he had three national titles. He was coach of the year, X number of times, and that him replacing Maneri, he was just going to come in and fix. Um, when in fact, I mean, he did have, there were some places where he was more successful than Maneri, and there are places where he wasn't.
Yeah.
Offensively, LSU, despite some games where lackluster performance, um, LSU did a lot better offensively this year than they have in the past.
It looked like the Bad News Bears fielding though.
Yeah, exactly. The defensive side of things kind of fell off, and that was kind of the doom for LSU. If we go to the SEC tournament, if fielding was better, you give up pretty much 3 runs due to fielding. So that puts you at a tie game, to play on. But I think that LSU has the talent to, and I'm not going to say coaching is the problem. They have the talent to win a regional, make it to a super regional. It's all about whether they can get it done defensively and move on from there.
Well, I say this though, and some people argue it's on coaching, but in baseball, I think it's less on coaching and as much as it is on, because baseball is a lot of mental on the player. You know what I mean? And it's how much you are in tune with yourself. And I think a lot of it is getting all the guys to come together at the same time. You know what I mean? It's getting Cruz at his best at the same time. Morgan's playing at his best. You know what I mean? And like that's the toughest thing about baseball. And because of that, I don't think this year this team never really put it all together at the same time. You'd have the pitching would be rolling, but the fielding would be terrible. You know what I mean? We get the fielding a little bit better, but the bats will start struggling. You know what I mean? And it's like we never put it all together. If they can find a way to put it all together, this team has enough talent to win it all, honestly. But the problem is, can they put it all together for a long enough stretch to do that?
Good question. We shall see. So
this dude here, bro.
All right.
Daniel, what you think about the baseball team?
Go Tigers. I hope they win it all.
I do with that. Boy, all you need is a blonde and you would never mind. All right.
The views.
So that's one thing we hadn't said tonight. Boy, I tell you, somebody need to go to New York more often. Hey, all right.
Hey, that hair transplant's got his mind right.
Oh, Danny. All right, moving on to the NBA. It was reported that the NBA is looking to create 2 expansion teams, Seattle and Vegas, in 2024 when the media streaming contract is over, and then go from there.
The CBA, I think the new CBA expires around that time too, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah, so that's going to be. I mean, they've been trying to put a team back in Seattle since the Supersonics went to Oklahoma City. Go ahead, Ant.
I just want to know what our Laker fans are going to say about my Pelicans now, since y'all ain't going to be able to use that excuse of move the team to Seattle. They've been saying that. They've been saying that about the Pelicans anytime we've been brought up for the past 5-10 years. That ain't you can't say that no more. So what y'all got to find another way to try to put us down, because we ain't going to almost cursed. We ain't going nowhere.
Let me ask you a question. Does that bring more parity to the NBA? As far as adding 2 more teams?
I think we've already kind of started to see the parity in the past couple of years when Durant left Golden State, and then whenever the way the Lakers kind of fell apart these last couple of years, I think we've already started to see the parity. What I think is you'll see less of the quote unquote super teams. You know what I mean? Where there's 3 or 4 stars on the team, and I think you'll go back to kind of the one or two stars. You know what I mean? And with a whole bunch of role players built back around them. I think. But my question is
better basketball.
Yeah, I think it does too. But my question is, how do they balance out the conferences? Like, what team goes to the Eastern Conference? Is it Memphis, Minnesota, or New Orleans? Because Minnesota is the one where everybody's like, why would they move? But the 5 closest teams to them are all Eastern Conference teams. Memphis is the only Western Conference team that's actually east of the Mississippi River. And you could kind of say the same about New Orleans.
Literally own it. Yeah, literally own
So
it.
you could say the same about New Orleans. Like it runs through the city. So I mean, which one you moving to the Eastern Conference is the question.
Why not move both? Put put the other two teams in what's called, and then you can have instead of the 3
there's three divisions. Yeah.
you can have
four.
4.
Yeah, 4 or 4. Yeah, I get what you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'd only be able to move one because there's already 15 in the East right now. So if you just move one to that side,
they'll probably move Memphis.
I think it'd be Memphis.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
But man, I think it'd be. I think this.
Well, I don't know. New Orleans was our no, they weren't.
That whenever they was Charlotte, that was
yeah. So
and see, the only reason Memphis is in the West is because they moved from Vancouver, and so they stayed in the West.
Yeah. All right. Other news in the NBA, and then this actually, y'all finna see the smoothest segue.
Transition.
What? All right. So the Lakers hired Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham was an assistant with Milwaukee Bucks. I remember him from UConn days, right? When he went,
I remember him. I remember him from playing when he played in Milwaukee, and he played on the championship team in Detroit with the Pistons. He played on that team. Yeah, I think he played in like Atlanta too or somewhere else.
Well, let's go ahead and roll. Y'all roll with me. Let's move on to the altar call. And I'm gonna go ahead and start this thing off, fellas. All right, so I need the NFL come down to the altar. I know y'all thinking, I thought you said it's gonna be a smooth transition. It is. Stick with me. I'll take you places. So, with the addition of Darvin Ham to the NBA, let's take a look. The NBA now has 15 black head coaches. If you count Eric Spoelstra, that's 16 of the 30 head coaches that are non-white, that are people of color. Let's look at the USFL. The USFL has 8 teams. 2 of their coaches are non-white. I know. Mike McDaniel. We'll get there. Give me a second. So the NFL has 32 teams. 3 coaches have been labeled as black coaches. Mike McDaniel doesn't even consider himself to be black. He says he's multiracial. But if you add in Ron Rivera and Robert Saleh of the New York Jets, you have 5 of the 32 teams that have coaches that are non-white. So why am I pointing this out? The NFL is 74.2% African American or 74.2% non-white players. There's no representation at the top. Are black coaches not that good? Well, that's not true. We just saw Robert Flores. Robert Flores took a poor offense team and brought them to back-to-back 10-win seasons?
Great point. He was killing it.
Yeah, you was killing it, but you froze, bro.
God dog it. All right. And you got yours.
I gotta wait on him. I gotta wait on Pooh to do my video.
I
gotta get my video.
Producer.
Yeah, producer. I don't know if producer know which one my video. Just the Steve Kerr video. Producer, if you got it.
Talk about basketball. Nothing's happened with our team in the last 6 hours. We're going to start the same way tonight. Any basketball questions don't matter. Since we left shoot around, 14 children were killed 400 miles from here, and a teacher. And in the last 10 days, we've had elderly black people killed in a supermarket in Buffalo. We've had Asian churchgoers killed in Southern California. And now we have children murdered at school. When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of the, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power. So I ask you, Mitch McConnell, I ask all of you senators who refuse to do anything about the violence and school shootings and supermarket shootings, I ask you, are you going to put your own desire for power ahead of the lives of our children and our elderly and our churchgoers? Because that's what it looks like. It's what we do every week. So I'm fed up. I've had enough. We're going to play the game tonight, but I want every person here, every person listening to this to think about your own child or grandchild or mother or father or sister, brother. How would you feel if this happened to you today? We can't get numb to this. We can't sit here and just read about it and go, well, let's have a moment of silence. Yeah, go Dubs, you know. Come on, Mavs, let's go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go play a basketball game. And 50 senators in Washington are going to hold us hostage. Do you realize that 90% of Americans, regardless of political party, want background check, universal background check? 90% of us, we are being held hostage by 50 senators in Washington who refuse to even put it to a vote, despite what we, the American people, want. They won't vote on it because they want to hold on to their own power. It's pathetic. I've had enough.
All right, before y'all start bashing Steve Kerr for his beliefs, I just want to say that I understand where he's coming from. If I was 18 years old and my father was killed by an Islamic terrorist group because he was an American citizen and he was the president of a university in Beirut, then I'd probably be feel some type of way about guns also. But that's not why I want to bring up. I salute Steve Kerr for using this platform to speak out on change. But players like LeBron James, Jaylen Brown, there's been numerous players in the NBA who've also done the same thing from that same platform, and they did not get the same respect and appreciation or even admiration or commendable remarks, whatever you want to. They didn't get any of that. They were told to shut up and dribble. They were told that they weren't asked for political remarks. Who cares about their opinion on politics and stuff like that? Let's fast forward to a few days later, to a few days ago, when the manager of the San Francisco Giants, Gabe Kapler, said he's not standing for the national anthem until this country represents what the national anthem stands for. Sounds like a lot like a guy we talked about earlier named Colin Kaepernick, except one of these guys was critiqued and blackballed from the league and all kind of other things for his stance, and the other one is respected and applauded and saying, great for you standing up for what you believe in. I don't have a problem with anybody standing up for what they believe in. I think tomorrow we're going to celebrate, or not celebrate, but we're going to remember a lot of people who laid their lives down for everybody to have their right. All I want is, whenever people exercise their right, for them to be treated the same and respected the same, no matter they're white, black, purple, or green. Everybody has a right to use their platform to speak for change if that's what they want. Let's respect everybody's rights, and let's respect everybody's opinions and thoughts on these matters. That's all I got. Go ahead, Pooh.
All right, let me try to finish this thing since Goodell tried to take me out. Let's go back to what I was saying. I'm not saying that, just because you're black, you deserve to be a head coach. But I'm saying that there are plenty of plenty of black coaches out there who deserve a chance to be a head coach. They create the Rooney Rule not because, hey, we want you to just take any minority, do a sham interview, and give them a chance. They created it because they saw a opportunity to start. Hey, let's stop reusing the same coaches that aren't winning and give some other people a chance. Some people who wouldn't necessarily get a chance in to begin with. That's all. This is always the Rooney Rule was always meant to be. It wasn't meant to say, hey, let's put on a front like, hey, we care. We get backlash, or we're going to put in racism on the back of the helmets, or we're going to put Black Lives Matter in the end zone, or anything like that. That's not what this was about. They got to do better. You got to start somewhere. That wasn't so bad, was it, Goodell? All right, Daniel.
Yeah. All right, Rolly Romero, please come to the front of the altar. Go ahead and cue that video, please.
Man, I just want to say I'm excited to be here on Showtime. You know what I mean? I might be honestly the youngest. Well, I mean, as far as like record-wise, like as far as like all the YouTubers and stuff, with the exception of them, I might be the pay-per-view fighter with the least amount of fights. You know? But I mean, you guys gonna see the summer fight. I'm gonna knock this dwarf out. That's how it is. You hear that? I'm gonna knock you the out. Flatline. You know how it is. You damn fucking scared? What the I'm scared of? You literally, man, you a stupid dwarf, man. I'm telling you, man, I can't even mess with your head. I can't even mess with your head. It's so big, like this big. And your little T-Rex arms, man, my longer than your arms. Yeah.
Man, hey, Rolly didn't even believe what he was saying. Yeah. I mean, that had to be the funniest. I don't know what you want to call that, but honestly, first time watching, I thought it was a voiceover. But he didn't have no confidence, and Javante knew that after that, he knew he hadn't won. But yeah, man, just be yourself, and everybody could see through that Rolly was pretending and trying to be something. Just be yourself, man. You don't got to talk tough. Just be yourself. You went in there, he got rolled. But also, not only that, Jim Gray made comments. He kind of almost ruined it for Javante last night. Javante said that he had smoke, he had guns for anybody, and Jim Gray took it upon himself to kind of interrupt it. And I wish I could have added that video also, but you can go look at the video. It was just very low taste, trying to ruin Javante's night. But excellent fight by Javante. Put on the show, knock Rolly out. Rolly, you ain't ready yet, young boy. You got talent, but you ain't ready. But yeah, that's my altar call.
Well, fellas, I want to say welcome back. Y'all don't have any more PTO. So
it wasn't my fault, dog.
I'm just glad you did it during the summer, not during football season.
Oh yeah, hey, it was either that or we spend our anniversary every year at Tiger Stadium. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool with this. She probably wouldn't be, but I mean that's fine with me.
All right. Well, it's been said already, but from the rest of your brothers at the Golden Boot, congratulations.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
You know what I'm saying? Wish you many blessings.
Appreciate you.
For everybody else out there, and is still accepting wedding gifts. We are still accepting donations. So you can give. Hold on. Y'all stick with me. You can donate via Cash App to the Golden Boot.
Yeah.
You can donate via PayPal to thegoldenbootpod@gmail.com.
And you can hit my DM if you try and donate to my wedding fund.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fellas, we will be back next week. Don't know when, but we'll be back Sunday. I know that. I don't know if we'll do anything in between time. In the meantime, in between time, but for everybody else, we shall see y'all soon. We out. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden Boot.